Hey, what's up, party people? Happy Tuesday. That means it's time for Honest Trailer Commentaries. I'm here with Lon and Danielle, as always, and today we're talking about Loki. The series Loki, which I believe came
Accent
out.
on the I.
Yeah,
Everybody left that part
yeah.
out.
Loki.
There's actually a taco place I really like called Loqui, Loqui. That's aside from the point. We're going to talk about the Honest Trailer. We're going to get into our deepest thoughts and feelings about it. We're going to show some deleted scenes. We're going to respond to comments and questions from viewers like yourself, so keep them coming in the chat. And then we'll tease you with next week's Honest Trailer. Sorry to digress at the top, but I don't have too much to say about Loki except I really enjoyed this series. What'd you guys think?
I like all the weird Marvel stuff. I like when they get weird a whole lot because a lot of it is so very formulaic. There wasn't a lot of that. They diverged from a lot of like the usual Marvel tropes that we see. I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, I don't really, again, I don't have a whole lot to say about it up top. Like we'll get into it as like the little kind of nitpicky stuff as the trailer goes along. But overall, I thought that it was really good, and I hope that they do more weird stuff. And that's kind of what I'm looking forward to in this next phase. Please, please, please get more weird because we're kind of over like they're like I don't need more of blank hats. I need more weird stuff.
Yeah, you're right. After Black Widow and Falcon and Winter Soldier, this is a nice palate cleanser and kind of a reminder of what Marvel does well, which is cosmic, bizarre antics and bright colors, all making jokes at each other, but in a good way. I think in this instance, in a very good way. What do you think, Lon?
I feel like I really like the middles of all of these Marvel shows. They always kind of start, and I'm like, it's a little slow. Like, let's get to it. And then the last episode always feels like very compromised. Like, well, we gotta like segue this back in to fit into the larger universe, and in a way that if you haven't seen this show, like maybe there's a few details you're not picking up, but you still like get it. So it always makes like for a weird season of TV, but episodes like 2 through 5 of Loki, I think are awesome. And the 5th episode where they're in the void with Richard E. Grant, we talk about it a lot in the trailer. That I loved. And I think it's like one of my favorite, just like standalone Marvel things in a long time.
Yeah. But I think that they, aside from whether the tone is like cosmic or grounded, I think they did a really good job, character-wise, with Loki, or Lokis, if you will. Like, this is something that I feel like he's always been a character where most of his depth has been created or projected onto by fans because they just love Tom Hiddleston so much and they want to see him.
He's so pretty.
He's so pretty. He's the prettiest boy. But this really did give you a really, really deep a kind of unpacking of this guy's various insecurities and stuff like that, and like a smart way to kind of bring him back to life, and then take him, because they'd already kind of developed his character through Endgame, but to bring him back to when he was still alive and then develop him in a kind of a different direction, I thought was really a genius way to keep one of your most popular characters and actors on board and like make me excited to keep him around, rather than just kind of a hackneyed way to, Loki again, because we can't think of anybody else. So I definitely appreciate the character work on this one.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that they're doing best with these Disney Plus shows is the movies. It's like, well, we've got to service 12 characters. Like even in the smaller scale movies, like the ones that are focused on just one hero, you still like Black Widow. It's like, well, we got to deal with Yelena. We got to set up Rachel Weisz and David Harbour's characters. We got to set up Ray Winstone. And there's all this world building. There's all these other members of the ensemble. But these shows, they could really delve a little bit more into the psychology and the personal experiences of Wanda and Vision in the case of WandaVision, or, not only, I guess, Falcon and Winter Soldier, but even Baron Zemo and some of the other people in that world in Falcon and Winter Soldier. And then, this one, we get to really get more of a feel for who Loki is rather than just his, like, chaotic presence in these stories.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, in regards to the ending, I mean, look, it's a good ending in a meta Marvel fan kind of way of like, the implications, the implications for the multiverse and all this stuff.
Implications.
Like in that sense, it's a huge ending, but like we say in the trailer, like they didn't dramatize it. It's just a dump. It's just he just shows up and he's doing his best, man. He's doing great. He's a great actor, but he's just dumping exposition on you for so long. I know we say it's 11 minutes long, but it's actually much longer than that. It's just that one section of it is 11 minutes long. That's no way to
They're
end,
only cutting between
I know.
two. Yeah.
You're showing me all of these great visuals. I get to see all of these great things. And then we end on just like a monologue. And like you said, he's doing his best. Like he really is. Like we'll get into it in there. Like he's really trying to make this visually interesting. But it's like, you know what's visually interesting? Showing us stuff. Yeah. The way that you have the whole, like, show don't tell is a thing for a reason, and it's just a lot of telling. And that monologue got so long. Right. That was like the one part, like literally my one low point in the series, and it wasn't because of the actor, but it was just because like I don't want to hear anybody talk for 11 minutes. That's just too many minutes.
Too many minutes in an otherwise very tightly paced, action-packed show.
It's just funny, like it's what we've been saying since WandaVision, when everybody was like, Mephisto's he's gonna drop in at the very end and be like, I'm the devil, I've been doing everything. And we were like, no, that would not work in terms of storytelling, because he hasn't been part of the show all along. So it's not dramatically satisfying to just bring him in at the end as the Deus Ex Machina explanation. And then that's what they did. And I mean, that's exactly what they did. Like, they have 5 episodes of this show, and then episode 6 is like, here's the answer, and it's a new guy.
The final episode of WandaVision didn't work either, which is just them flinging goo at each other. So
right, but
you can't win.
At least they had the good sense to make the villain pivot was a character we'd already met, that we were already somewhat invested in, and it was like, here's a new wrinkle on this person that you didn't know. That, I think, I agree that the WandaVision finale had its own issues, but at least I feel like they did a better job of integrating the villain into the show, rather than having it be this big question mark that then we like turn over a guess who card, and it's
answered and then answered and then answered again. Yeah.
And it's like, right. And it's like, okay, it's that guy, and I'm sure he's going to be important. And if you are like, there are certain kinds of fans, and I don't mean this in a condescending or a mean-spirited way. It's okay to be like, but there are certain kinds of fans where they're into the narrative. They're just watching this stuff for like, tell me what happens next. Tell me what happens next. And I'm sure it was riveting from that perspective, because it's a huge clue unlocking the next phase of Marvel. But if you're watching these for the stories and the characters and the narrative, I don't know if it's as big a payoff.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily looking for like, I appreciate when there are these little nuggets for to be continued, but I don't want the whole last thing to necessarily be like, and the question will be answered. And it feels like when they do those huge crossovers, which is part of the reason why I've like sometimes taken breaks from comics, because I'm like, I love reading comics, but the whole thing of like, and the next issue will be answered in Avengers number 1078. It's like, I don't know. I'm just going to wait for the graphic novel. Like, I don't know that I'm going to do all
There you go.
It's like when you read a book that's got a ton of footnotes, and after a while, you're just like, I'm exhausted, David Foster Wallace. Like, I'm sure there's I'm sure there's great nuggets down there, but like, I just want to read a thing.
All right, we won't do the Infinite Jest commentary yet. We'll get there. Next time, let's start the honest trailer and see what else we have to say.
Fandom logo.
They've done heart-wrenching examinations of pain and grief, meditations on America's betrayal of black soldiers. But now, a Marvel series is ready to take on life's biggest question. How long would it take for you to do yourself? About a week tops, right? Loki.
Yeah, and someone like Loki, like
now that Marvel's killed off its only good villains, they'll turn back in time to pluck Loki from the Avengers, dress him like he's in a scumbag.
Credit to Joe Starr, who I initially had as a joke, but not really. Whiplash in that grid of Marvel keeps killing off all their good villains, because we have a soft spot on Whiplash in this show.
It's more his bird. It's more his board. Yeah,
but it is funnier to say that one of the best villains in the MCU is Tony Stark, and from a certain point of view, he definitely is.
It's not even from a certain point of view at this point. I think by the end, it's almost just text. It's not even subtext, by the way.
We're going to get in trouble by people who say that we don't appreciate what Tony Stark gave up for us. I'm telling you.
By Far From Home, when he's posthumously gifting international drone assassination programs to teens, I think we'd be like, this guy crossed the line. Like...
Yeah, well, yeah, as Ryan says in the chat, Billy still gets flashbacks from that Tony Stark's the bad guy essay he did. There is like a diehard defend Tony Stark at all costs fandom, and you know what? yeah, whatever. It's a fictional character. If that's who you identify with, go ahead. You stunted billionaire. I'm sorry that people are keeping
Tony Stark hasn't solved world hunger.
I feel like, look, he started off well. I think if you go back to like Iron Man 1, very defensible. I just think like
I think Iron Man. I think he got better as time went along. I think he's very indefensible in Iron Man 1.
Iron Man 1 is a redemptive arc. It's like he started off bad, but then he went good by the end. It's by like
I don't think so. By the end, he like basically
era.
Becomes Blackwater. He becomes like a private military corporation of his own, accountable to no one. Like this is
he's just right. Yeah, only himself. Well, but that's just superheroism in general. Like Superman doesn't answer to the U.S. government.
Well, that's what BVS was all about, and that's another. Yeah, we'll do a combo
please
episode
welcome our
revisiting
special
BVS
guest
and Infinite Jest.
Zack Snyder.
I want to
joining us live.
Sorry to prune so many timelines. We gotta stick to Loki. Let's keep watching Loki. We'll talk about
He's in a
Loki
ska
from here on
band
out.
and do a speed run through 3 movies worth of character development.
I love you, my sons. Remember this, please.
But honestly, I'm glad they made the show. Tom Hiddleston hasn't been this charming since that POV Chinese vitamin commercial.
Probably be a bit busy for the next few weeks. But I'll make it up to you soon, I promise.
Is he supposed to be my husband, or are we having an affair? Either way,
I mean, pause.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Was this famous? I'd never seen this before. It got brought up in this discussion for Honest Trailer.
It's hard to say if it's famous or not. I know I've been a fan since I saw it.
But like, did this go viral when it was new, or is this just a thing
what is viral anymore? You know, if 1 million people see a video, does it matter? I don't know. I think that this was absolutely a fascinating commercial because I'd never experienced the like first person perspective Tom Hiddleston dating simulator before, and it almost blinds you to the amount of questions I had, mostly about the meal he's preparing. I guess we show that later. We can get into that later. But Danielle, what's your take on this on Centrum Silver, brought to you by Tom Hiddleston?
Dreamy. Yes, please make me your favorite meal, not mine. Make me your favorite meal and feed me vitamins, you pretty long-haired man.
It's her favorite meal because he says like black pepper, how you like it, like black pepper on top.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's very clever that they filmed it like in portrait mode, so you can watch it on your phone, and it really fulfills the fantasy of like you are FaceTiming with Tom Hiddleston. He's talking to you.
I mean,
like,
what other
so
celebrities?
Landscape mode, it's just another commercial. Portrait mode, it's like, oh, okay, this is the one-on-one.
Make this a series though with every actor that you might have a crush on, and just do like I don't know. No, that guy's dead. Who would you like a POV vitamin commercial from? Let us know in the chat.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep playing.
Who could convince you to take
time to escape the clutches of the TVA? A bunch of time cops tasked with a sacred duty to try and make the word prune.
I'm just seeing Paul Giamatti going like, I burnt the fucking eggs, I'm sorry.
Better take a Centrum, because this isn't going to come out.
You get no nutrition today. This place is a mess.
He's like exasperated constantly. Well,
I don't know what any of the things are. I have to go. I'm making a sequel to John Adams. I'm John Quincy Adams this time. Okay. All right. Okay.
Lin-Manuel Miranda's just winking at you? No.
Oh, just the lip bite? Like,
I went to a bodega.
Yeah. Do you know what that is? Okay. Anyways, keep going.
A sacred duty to try and make the word prune happen.
They want to personally oversee the variant's pruning.
TVA has pruned a lot of these guys.
Prune on site.
No pruning. She's already been pruned.
Just prune it, let's bail.
So you're gonna prune me?
Or he pruned her.
Prune it. Prune him.
She's self-pruned.
Watch them clean up the MCU timeline
Sounds
with the ruthless
sexy when you say it that often.
of Kevin Feige murdering a Netflix series. Because apparently, the only version of events that's allowed to happen is the one where a rat saves half of existence and Captain America goes back in time to beat his own ass. Take a number, Tommy boy, because this isn't just a showcase for one Loki. There's an entire Comic-Con's worth of variants to cosplay as. Like Sylvie, the femme fatale who spent her life camping out in various Ragnaroks, making it hard for her to trust someone.
I can't sleep around untrustworthy people. What was I thinking, trusting you?
Because you can't trust. And I can't be trusted.
And even harder for her to open up to the possibility that she might just want to do herself. And I mean, come on, most people do themselves every day, like multiple times a day, and the timeline is just fine. Trust me.
I'm sorry. I would make out with my own clone. I just think that most people would. I just think that's the thing. I think that that's, if you could, you would.
I don't think it makes sense to get like people were acting like they were grossed out by this idea that a Loki and another Loki from a variant timeline in the multiverse would get together. And it's like, it's too impossible to think it's gross. Like we know that you can't even picture that happening. So it's not gross.
Well,
like,
it's just Marvel is so like, and I get it. They're all PG-13 movies, and they're largely for children. That it's like they're so icked out by sex and stuff. Like anytime anybody's about to make out, somebody like cracks a joke or is like ew, or they're interrupted by an explosion or something like that. But they canonically, even in this show, they're like, I'll bet you had lots of princes and princesses after you, and like, yep, we were all boning down all the time. But then, and he's the god of mischief. He wouldn't immediately like be like, all right, let's see what happens now. Like
people are acting like this is Anne twins, but like they're not twins. They're like from different universes.
Well, but I wonder if like their children would probably be alligator Loki if they actually.
That's where alligator Loki comes from.
I know they're variants, but
when two Lokis love each other very much,
that is enough variation in the DNA there for you to get anything other than an alligator. So I get the revulsion there, but they'll be smart about it. Anyways, yes, Marvel.
He can just put on protection just by going like this. They don't have to be prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah,
even though I liked the way the romance played out between the two of them, it just doesn't. You just have to take it as just a given that Lokis, who are all supposed to be these like Lothario, like playboy and play women, are like suddenly acting like awkward high schoolers, like when they meet another version of themselves. Yeah. It was cute, but it didn't really track for me. They'd be all over each other. Anyways, keep going.
Well, Sylvie spent her whole life alone. It makes sense she would be like weird and not socialized. Loki, I see your point. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Fine. Right, trust me. There's classic Loki, proving that Richard E. Grant can make you love any character, even if he's dressed like Kermit the Frog and talking nonsense for 30 minutes straight. Kid Loki, who murdered Thor. But like, Kid Thor. All you have to do is dangle a candy bar near a wood chipper and let nature take its course. Alligator Loki. He is an alligator. And Chinese vitamin commercial Loki. What? You can't tell me that's not an extremely health-conscious Loki variant. I mean, just look at how many vegetables he made me for breakfast.
Oh,
so many vegetables.
Chance, man.
They're joined by
Mobius for like 4 people.
What?
That's a huge serving. You could not eat that by yourself in the morning.
And like 1 egg? Come on, dude.
You'd be on the toilet all day. That's a lot of roughage. First thing.
Well, I gotta feel like that the amount of roughage he's giving you, either he's transformed you into a horse, or he's that's to symbolize how much is in like 1 pill of Centrum. You know, like 1 pill of Centrum is one like a hubcap-sized breakfast salad equals 1 Centrum.
It's equivalent to this bowl of cut up peppers and corn. Is that what's in there? There's definitely a whole strip of it that's just corn niblets, which I don't feel like is an American salad thing.
Yeah,
like we'll put maybe a little bit of corn.
Why does he say I finished early? What is he finished? What?
I think it's supposed to be he finished work, and because he says in the beginning, like, I'm going to be I'm going to be really busy, but I'm going to make it up for you. He's just like, I finished early. So, but what work is he doing?
Yeah, I think it's him in the morning going to his Tom Hiddleston job, and then him returning later.
Okay. All right. Anyways,
so it's dinner eggs.
I mean, he's being Tom Hiddleston. He's off, being
it's a full-time job,
making Japanese commercials and Loki.
Why is he so like apologetic about everything? I think it's an affair. I think this is a mistress simulator. I feel like it'd be a longer, more fleshed out discussion if they were married.
Oh, I thought you were saying this was the wife, and when he says he's going to work, he's actually going to be with another woman in a totally different commercial.
It could be that. It could be
a different
flipped,
product.
Yeah, interesting. Does he? Is it his house or her house? Like, does he travel with an apron?
I think he brings the apron with him. I think he's that like conscientious that he just like has an apron. In
he's
his
so
car.
thoughtful.
I like the idea that he's got partners all over town and they're all recording him, but for different ads. So in another woman's house, it's just like, I put fresh Goodyear tires on the car. They really hold up the best under rough conditions.
Yeah.
And they're all variants, and that one is that makes sense. That one's the alligator Loki. That's why it eats a hubcap worth of food.
That's why it eats so many vegetables.
All right, keep playing. I want to hear more theories in the chat. But yes, let's keep playing.
A bureaucrat who's obsessed with Loki and jet skis, which makes him the perfect partner for the man who's also obsessed with Lokis and jet skis. See? Jet ski.
Pause. I kept waiting for that to pay off of like, he's going to do the jet ski thing because that's the first thing I thought about is, Loki was on a jet ski in the Avengers. Like, so there's going to do some timeline thing where he's on a Chitauri jet ski and they're like both yelling and screaming and having a good time. But no, season 2?
I feel like they are holding this in their pocket for like the final shot of the final episode will be Loki and Mobius finally getting to go on a jet ski adventure together. I feel like they're saving this for the big set.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, I hope it's like the end of that one episode of Eastbound and Down where it's just Loki without a shirt on, just like waving it around. And
that's exactly the scene I was thinking of. Exactly the scene I was thinking of. Yes, we get the Eastbound and Down ending, but Mobius.
They need to recreate that. Was that photo of P. Diddy in the bathrobe holding the champagne bottle on a jet ski? I think they should recreate that with Owen Wilson. Just jet skis throughout time.
Yeah. Does he shove Renslayer off the jet ski? We'll see. We'll figure it out.
All right, keep going.
Then there's Judge Renslayer, an evil bureaucrat who discovers that she's actually middle management, not upper middle management like she thought. Gasp. Miss Minutes, just one of many multimedia presentations the show has to use to explain what's going on without your eyes glazing over.
Your salad is Asgard.
No, don't do that. This one is good.
And Kang the Conqueror, this annoying theater kid variant, journey to the Hogwarts at the end of the universe to meet Marvel's next bad guy with a thing for purple. And thrill as after 5 episodes of fast-paced excitement, Kang plops into the series like the architect from Matrix 2 if he also did improv.
You can't kill me because I already know what's going to happen.
The first Matrix I designed was quite naturally perfect. It was a work of art, flawless, sublime.
Ryan says Kang would do groundlings over UCB, and you're right. It's more character-based.
Yeah, not really doing a Harold.
Perfection inherent in every human being. Thus I redesigned it, based on your history. I have since come to understand the answer.
I wasn't sure this was going to play because their delivery is so different, but it really does. It works really well.
Ages and ages of cosmic harmony.
This scene is 11 minutes long. When Marvel
too many ones on that minute,
they called up Rick and Morty writer Michael Waldron to run the show, and he's bringing along a grab bag of wildly original concepts like portal guns, space lizards, barely escaping planets before they're destroyed, speeches about how existence is chaos.
Existence is chaos. Nobody exists on purpose. Nobody belongs anywhere. Everybody's gonna die.
Hive minds.
Me, I presume.
If anyone's anyone, you're me.
My passion for unification.
You mean stealing people's bodies?
Summer, rude.
Tech that's always running out of juice.
You're out of juice.
Characters very precisely and cuttingly breaking each other down psychologically.
Insecure need for validation would motivate you to find the killer.
You act like prey, but you're a predator. You use pity to lure in your victims. It's how you survive.
Getting drunk during big missions.
You're drunk.
No, I'm just full. But bear in mind, I'm very full.
And time prison.
You know what they do to third-dimensional life forms in time prison? Same thing they do in every other prison, only forever.
Wow, where do they get all these ideas? I guess there was nothing left to steal from Jack Kirby, huh?
So pause. I just get the sense that Marvel at some point must have like backed a dump truck full of money up to like Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland and be like, do Marvel stuff, and then they like talk to them or like try to like have them do something on a schedule or something, and then the dump truck full of money just pulled slowly away from their studios.
It's funny that this does kind of keep happening because Mike McMahon, who is also a Rick and Morty writer, he's the guy doing Star Trek Lower Decks now. So it's like they go to the other Rick and Morty writers who still want to have a career, and they're like, you do the IP. Because Dan Harmon, he can create his own stuff, and Justin Roiland must be
he's busy.
He's busy. He's
they just sold like 17 seasons or something of Rick and Morty. He's gonna have to crank that out for.
Well, they have to take a month off to make the season finale, so they're right up against it. They're right up against the timeline.
And yeah, this guy Michael Waldron, he's also doing Doctor Strange 2. So yeah, I think it's a perfect fit for. And Rick and Morty is riffing on other sci-fi tropes. That
I mean, we could have taken them both back to. I feel like Doctor Who was like the granddaddy of both of these kind of takes on this sort of sci-fi. So like anything goes, crazy multiverse. There are no rules.
With the salty old protagonist who's seen it all.
I feel like that really is. They're both kind of riffing on. I wrote this run, and I'm aware it's not totally fair. I just thought it was fun.
Well, there you go.
Like I won't. Also, it's funny that Michael Waldron, he did Rick and Morty, he did Loki, and he's also doing Heels, that new Stars wrestling show. Like he's just a Renaissance man. He's got a lot of interest.
Sounds like a man after Danielle's heart.
Kind of is. Yeah. Kind of a little bit is. Yeah.
Backyard wrestling and sci-fi. It's a rare, special combo.
Good times. All right, keep going.
Drop in for what's ultimately a small-scale series that manages to feel huge thanks to massive animated establishing shots. Like when you witness the apocalypse of this world from an empty crater. Enter an infernal nightmare bureaucracy that stretches to infinity. Now let's retire to this office. And welcome to the void at the center of time and reality. But quick, into that bowling alley. So, if you're
I think
ready
that was
to be
smart.
stuck with content like a foie...
I mean, this didn't feel like a small, like intimate, office procedural. It felt big, and I think that it was a smart mix of these massive, like I said, massive establishing shots, and then everybody get into the little TV set that's practical. I think they used their budget well because, and there were some, like there was that, 1917 on acid shot where they're running through the city being destroyed and stuff like that. Like they use their money well.
They definitely had an awareness of this and did a few scenes where they try to like split the difference. So it is like you get some of Loki and these other Lokis wandering through the void. It doesn't feel like they immediately retire to their underground bunker, but they do get there before too long. It's like it's budget conscious, but with an awareness and a cleverness about how to be budget conscious.
Yeah, and it's also not like overwhelming for 6 episodes. You know what I mean? Like it's because you look at especially that shot of the TVA and like how huge and massive it is, and that's just you could do a whole season just in all of those different Space Needles. So like,
sure,
that would be like a difficult thing. So I'm glad that like it's they found a way to scale that down. That was good.
Yeah, the only time I felt it was a little confined was that finale. Just like meet the Lord and creator of the entire universe in his like nicely appointed traditional 80s style home office. And it's like, all right, the whole show will wrap up and the characters will be in these like cushy chairs around a desk, hashing it out. Okay. I feel like visually maybe you could have come up with something for that.
You should have gotten at least like one other Kang stepping through a portal. Maybe even like Kang's on Loki's, whatever. Well, we'll fix it. I kept
waiting for something to open that up a little, and then no, it's just dark room. Okay, dark office.
All right, keep playing.
Be stuck with content like a foie gras goose. Enjoy the show that gets you ready for a movie, that gets you ready for the next wave of the MCU, that gets you ready for season 2 of the show, that gets you ready for death. And as long as they keep making B+ content while keeping every good actor from doing anything original, this machine is going to keep cranking until we're all in Waterworld. Darkest Timeline! Woo! Starring Loki on God.
Loke be a lady tonight.
The Setting Crashers. BF Kangs. The Old Guard. He Who Rehashes. Gators Will Say It's Fake. Dramatic weapon unsheathing.
For my next trick, love is a dagger.
Find a way back to the TVA!
Fine.
Style.
Betrayals.
I'd never stab anyone in the back. That's such a boring form of betrayal.
Judge Renslayer really feel betrayed by her beloved TBA.
I guess you don't do partners. Unless, of course, it benefits you and you intend to betray them at some point.
How do I know that in the final moments you won't betray me?
You betrayed me.
No, you betrayed me.
You betrayed me. You betrayed me. Oh, grow up. Grow up.
Pause.
Apologies.
Yeah, parts of this reminded me of is it Dear Sister? What's the SNL sketch where they're reading and then you walk in and shoot me, and then I shoot what you say. I was trying to figure out a way to play that, but couldn't think of it. But I thought about it when I was watching Loki.
Just for that.
Yeah, exactly.
We did 5 seconds. I think we covered it.
I hope Centrum Vitamins Chinese department doesn't shut us down.
Ooh, very angry.
All right, keep going.
Apologies, my liege. I betrayed you.
About that.
You can't be serious.
My throne. About that.
And hair flips.
Yeah, I wish I had flippable hair. Dang.
Chrono Trigger.
Bangs get in the way.
You know, this never would have happened if Tony Stark had just let Hulk use the elevator. He really is responsible for every bad thing in this universe.
There you go. That's why he's in that grid.
There you go.
Good times. I think we made something out of nothing there, and I only say that because it's tough when I watch something and go, "Oh, I really enjoyed that. That was fun." Now to make 9 minutes worth of jokes about it.
Well, especially because this is the third of these Disney plus Marvel shows, and they were all, pretty good. Like I liked some more than others, some episodes or whatever, but it wasn't like any of them was like a huge flop that was easy for us to goof on.
Yeah.
So like they're not doing us any favors here.
Yeah.
Feige, work on your quality control.
Yeah, I want either
and decrease it, please.
Yeah, I want bad movies. Makes our job easy. Your job, however, is simple. Just hit the like and hit that subscribe, and we'll take care of the rest. Kick back, pop open a Bud Light Lime, and enjoy. Because we're doing this every week.
How many of those do you have left? Are you still working through those?
Just a single BLL, I'll have to do
when
another.
Is a good time? When are you in the mood for one Bud Light Lime? Never. It's never good.
Well, I'm also almost out of dish soap, so I can do a little.
Buy another 6, and then
it really does it all. All right, so we have some outtakes, I imagine. Let's see what those ended up being.
The only version of events that's allowed to happen is the one where a rat saves half of existence and Captain America goes back in time to beat his own ass. Yep, history has always had to play out exactly this way. For all time. Always. And a Space Jam 2's worth of janky-looking background Lokis. And there's more to Moby than meets the eye. This TVA analyst has the superpower to act exactly like Owen Wilson.
Big metaphor guy. I love it.
Starring Loki, Loki Prime, As God as It Gets,
God, James God,
My Fair Lady, Time Bandit, Stuck with the Hiddle and You, 23 Skidoo, Shanghai Literally Whenever.
That's Hansel. He's so hot right now and also every other time.
Drill Bit Time Lord, Judge Snooty, Doppelganger, A Black Sheriff, The Last Conqueror in San Francisco, Kermit, Void Rage, Gatorade, Power Measuring Contests.
You all parade about as if you're the divine arbiters of power in the universe.
We are.
You're not.
Blades are worthless in the face of a Loki sorcery.
Oh, a swing of a miss.
Not bad.
Guilty of this.
He's trying to use his powers, ma'am.
Don't rush me. Damn it, why would it work?
The Horn Identity, Free Will Hunting, Doctor Who Done It, Impractical Jokers.
Yeah, I want to do that last one just to piss off Joe.
Always got to have an Impractical
because he's such a big Impractical Jokers fan. Everyone tweet him your favorite Impractical Jokers clips and quotes.
Oh, that's mean. That's cool. Not here to defend. So.
All right, so on to the questions. Timothy Reynolds asks, what's your favorite Loki variant?
Oh, well, I liked boastful Loki until he got all betrayed. But I liked Sylvie. I think Sylvie was, yeah, I like Sylvie. Sylvie was probably my favorite Loki variant, just by way of getting most of the character development, I guess.
Yeah.
Centrum Silver Loki feels like an excellent life mate and somebody who'd probably be really terrific to live with. I'd probably be healthier if I lived with him, but I'm still going to have to go with Alligator.
Well, but it depends on how much time he spends with you, because I get the feeling that he kind of hits it and quits it. Like he's there, he's like giving you a lot of attention and affection, and then he's like, oh, something came up at work. I'll see you in a couple weeks. And
just around mealtime. So otherwise, he's nowhere to be seen. Yeah.
I now love this main Loki Prime. I don't know what you call him, the one that got plucked from the Avengers. He's definitely my favorite. Loki's definitely the most interesting to me, but I'll just say the alligator because everybody loves a cute animal. Everybody loves an animal in a place you didn't expect.
Mouse in a vest? Can I interest you in a mouse in a vest? We got one of those now,
Let's see. James Zuniga, now that we have 3 Marvel series, do you think this is enough to say you have a favorite series or a favorite by default? This is my favorite. I'd say it's a level above the other two. Those two are like tied for second, and this is a solid, like, wow, I can't wait for season 2. And the other one's like, I enjoyed my time.
I think just because I'm such a fan of television, WandaVision has still got like kind of a special place in my heart just because of the way that it did that. I will say the further away it got from like the weird TV stuff, the less I kind of liked it. Like I'm not a huge fan of the flinging of goo, but yeah, I would say that like just for the examination of that and watching all the actors do something different, and then everybody who work on it do something different, WandaVision's got like a little place for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Loki is my favorite, although I really like the Madripoor stuff in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Falcon and Winter Soldier had stayed more of a globe-trotting, like, espionage adventure and less like the sort of where it ended up. I think I would probably have enjoyed it more. But I think overall Loki is probably my favorite.
Madripoor looked like it could be on like an alternate dimension in Loki or something on a different planet. Maybe it will in season 2. Alyssa Hawkins asks, would it make sense to have season 2 be a side story to the MCU timeline, or because we have a multiverse, is there no point? It's similar to a question from Matt Pierce. Do you expect Kang to have more of a presence in season 2 than the MCU movies? Like, is Kang a Loki villain, or is this he's going to be the next big bad in the MCU?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. I kind of feel like at least this version of Kang, Black Kang, we know that like, Ryan is saying we know he's an Ant-Man for sure.
Yes, he was originally cast to be the main villain in Ant-Man 3. Yeah. So we know that's like at least one other part of the story. Beyond that, who's to say?
I'd be surprised if you're an Ant-Man villain. I'm sorry. I'd be surprised if you're an Ant-Man villain if you wind up being the one pulling all of the strings in like the MCU. I'm sorry. I don't know shade to Ant-Man, but that's just the hard facts. All facts,
but
no
the
printer.
quantum realm, though, like Ant-Man's the key to the quantum realm, and that ended up being like a real major hub for a lot of the stuff in this universe. So
yeah,
we'll see. Yeah.
They now have an excuse to do anything they want, which is, I think, the goal. Like, cast anybody they want, recast anybody they want. All they needed Kang to do was to crack open the multiverse, and anyone can walk out of those portals now.
Yes, I think like Kang probably will be some kind of presence in Doctor Strange too, but I would be surprised if he's the main villain in multiple upcoming films. Like Thanos got a 2-parter that he was the main villain for, but it's not like he was the main villain for the whole phase. It's like you send Ronan after this one, and you come up against Jude Law, whose name I forget, and Captain Marvel in this one. Why didn't I go for another villain character whose name I remember? Anyway, you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Then I feel like he's maybe going to be a presence, but I don't know if he'll be like the key villain in all of these.
I agree. And now closing out with a tough one that I can't really decide. I got to think it over. Adam Hulbert asks, who's the best Marvel Tom? Tom Hiddleston, Tom Holland, or Tom Hardy? Those are 3 heavy hitters that,
Venom.
And somebody else pointed out this, that Fast Bowler wrote that is the casting of total unknown Tom Hiddleston the best gamble the MCU has ever made. I gotta say, it's up there. like plucking him and most of the Chris's out of not obscurity, but semi-obscurity or TV or something like that. They're really doing well in the casting department. But I gotta say, look, obviously Tom Hardy's the best actor out of the three of them, but confined to just their Marvel roles, I think Hiddleston is on top.
I gotta say Holland. I think that just like he did such a good job. I think that that's such a hard role. And I think that it's really hard to step into something we've already seen so many times. And despite the Tony Stark of it all, I think that he was able to really he was able to be a really convincing Peter Parker. And I think that especially like it helps that he has that dance background. Maybe I'm just thinking too much of his lip sync battle, which will always, I will watch that every time that
voting
comes
based on the umbrella dance.
I'm voting based on the umbrella dance. That's it. That's all it is.
Well, Lon, you're just voting based on the fish tank scene in Venom. So,
well, I was gonna say, I'm tempted to go with Hardy. I feel like Tom Hardy and Michelle Williams in Venom. It is not my favorite movie, but the two of them are acting like they're not playing it like it's a funny one-off. Like they are bringing the same energy and focus they would bring to a Manchester by the Sea. Like I don't feel like we're getting partial Tom Hardy in that movie. He's going for it, and that's what makes that movie watchable. Because the others, it's not poorly made, or it's not well made in any other way. So I almost feel like if we're just talking about just purely the performance and the acting and nothing else, I might go Hardy.
Well, I mean, for me, it's Tom, and I think that Hiddleston. I think that might be, most improved over time because we knew he could like show up and chew some scenery, but in this one, like, there's some real depth and pathos, and he can do the comedy, he can do the leading man stuff. Like he's
right, and we also point out it was a gamble to cast him in some way, but they also wouldn't have put him in all of these various projects. Like Loki wasn't necessarily a character that was going to be a linchpin for the whole Marvel universe. It is now because everybody loves Tom Hiddleston in that role.
Yeah.
So it was a gamble, but it like if it hadn't worked out, well, they would have just focused on a different character.
Yep. Well, there you have it. And speaking of stars, that's your clue for next week's Honest Trailer. Haha. See what I did there? You'll see what I did there. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Lon. Thank you, audience. We will be back next week for another one and back tomorrow for more SJU. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you later.